Welcome back to Firepower. Imagine you're 3 days into a backcountry hunt. Your pack feels heavier with every mile, your legs are burning, and then it happens the biggest bull elk you've ever seen steps into the open, across a distant valley. You settle your crosshairs, control your breathing, and prepare to squeeze the trigger. Then you hesitate. Not because you doubt your aim, but because you're no longer certain your cartridge is the right tool for the shot. That's a feeling no hunter wants to experience. Most hunters spend countless hours comparing rifles, scopes, and optics, yet very few truly understand the strengths and limits of the cartridge they're carrying. Choosing the wrong one doesn't just cost you an animal, it can cost you the opportunity you've waited all year to earn. The firearms industry keeps selling more power, but experienced hunters know that fewer compromises matter more than bigger numbers. Today on Firepower, we're exposing the hidden weaknesses of America's favorite hunting cartridges and revealing the one that keeps delivering when everything is on the line. Before we rank a single cartridge, we need to answer one question that most hunters never ask. The wrong questions are, which caliber is the strongest? Or which one shoots the farthest? Those questions sound impressive, but they rarely lead to the best decision. The better question is much simpler. What am I actually hunting? Too many buying decisions are driven by marketing campaigns, ballistic charts, social media debates, and an obsession with extreme long-range shooting, yet the reality is very different. The vast majority of North American game is harvested at distances between 75 and 250 yards, where confidence and shot placement matter far more than impressive numbers on paper. That's why our rankings are based on what truly counts in the field: the size of the animal, the terrain you'll hunt, your typical shooting distance, your skill level, your tolerance for recoil, and how often you can realistically practice. Because the smartest hunters don't buy the biggest cartridge, they buy the one that demands the fewest compromises when the moment of truth finally arrives. Coming in at number 5 is the .308 Winchester, a cartridge that has earned its reputation through decades of dependable performance rather than flashy marketing. Originally developed from a military lineage, it has become one of the most trusted hunting cartridges in North America, and for good reason. Ammunition is available almost everywhere. It's relatively affordable, and its moderate recoil allows hunters to practice more often and shoot with greater confidence when the pressure is on. In the field, the .308 has proven itself on everything from whitetail deer and black bear to elk at practical hunting distances, making it one of the most versatile cartridges ever designed. But versatility doesn't mean perfection. As ranges begin to stretch, the .308 gives up velocity and energy faster than many newer or Magnum cartridges, limiting its effectiveness in more demanding situations. Still, for the vast majority of hunters, its balance of accuracy, reliability, and shootability is difficult to beat. And that leads to an important lesson. A dependable cartridge can take you a long way, but sometimes dependable isn't always enough. At number 4 is the .270 Winchester, a cartridge that has quietly earned the trust of generations of hunters. Much of its legendary reputation comes from the influence of Jack O'Connor, who proved that precision, flat trajectory, and intelligent shot placement could outperform raw power in open country. The .270's high velocity creates a flatter trajectory than many traditional hunting cartridges, reducing holdover at typical field distances and making quick follow-up shots easier to place. Compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor, the .270 generally delivers higher velocity with heavier hunting bullets, giving it an edge for many real-world deer and elk hunts while maintaining manageable recoil. However, speed alone doesn't solve every problem. When the game becomes larger and tougher, bullet weight and deep penetration become increasingly important. That's where the .270 begins to show its limits, especially on the heaviest North American game. It's a reminder that while speed solves some problems, bullet weight and terminal performance solve others. Taking the number 3 spot is the 7mm Remington Magnum, a cartridge that many hunters dream about owning because of its impressive performance on paper. But here's the question few people stop to ask. How often do hunters actually take the kind of shots this cartridge was designed for? For most North American hunts, opportunities come well inside normal hunting distances, where confidence and shot placement matter more than extreme ballistic performance. The 7mm Remington Magnum certainly delivers excellent energy and versatility, but those advantages come with trade-offs. Recoil is noticeably sharper than standard cartridges, ammunition is more expensive, barrel life is shorter, and every trip to the range costs more. Over time, those factors can reduce the amount of practice a hunter gets before opening day. And no ballistic advantage can replace familiarity with your rifle under pressure. That's the hidden cost of chasing performance. A cartridge you fear practicing with becomes useless when the moment of truth finally arrives. Coming in at number 2 is the .300 Winchester Magnum, a cartridge that has built its reputation on unquestionable authority. Whether the target is a mature bull elk, a giant moose, or even large bears, few cartridges command as much respect. Its combination of velocity and energy makes it a favorite among hunters who want extra margin for larger game. But every advantage comes at a cost. The heavy muzzle blast and sharp recoil can encourage flinching, especially for hunters who don't practice regularly. Ammunition is also significantly more expensive, making frequent range sessions harder on the budget. Now imagine needing 3 fast, accurate follow-up shots on an animal that's still moving. In that moment, recoil management becomes just as important as raw power. The .300 Win Mag is an outstanding hunting cartridge, but its greatest strength can also become its biggest weakness. Power is impressive until it starts working against the shooter. Taking the number 1 spot is the .3006 Springfield, not because it's the fastest, the flattest shooting, or the most powerful cartridge on the market, but because it continues to solve more hunting problems than almost any other option. Its greatest strength is flexibility, with bullet weights ranging from 125 to 220 grains. The 3006 can be tailored for everything from whitetail deer to elk, moose, and even large bears with the right load and proper shot placement. Ammunition is widely available across the country, reasonably priced compared to most magnums, and offered in an enormous variety of factory loads. That's why it has never faded from hunting camps it adapts instead of becoming obsolete. It may not dominate any single category, but it consistently performs near the top in nearly all of them. And that's the difference between chasing perfection and choosing balance. The best hunting cartridge isn't the one that wins one contest, it's the one that refuses to lose when real hunting conditions demand versatility. Before we finish, there's one truth that no ballistic chart can ever capture. Charts can tell you about velocity, muzzle energy, bullet drop, and wind drift under perfect conditions. But hunting never happens under perfect conditions. The real world adds cold hands, pouring rain, steep terrain, awkward shooting positions, racing adrenaline, moving animals, difficult shot angles, and sometimes the need for a fast, accurate follow-up shot. None of those factors appear in a chart, yet they often determine the outcome of a hunt far more than a few hundred feet per second of velocity. That's why experienced hunters trust preparation over paper performance. Ballistic charts are predictable. Nature never is, and that's exactly why choosing a cartridge requires far more than comparing numbers. If choosing just one cartridge still feels overwhelming, here's a simple framework that matches the rifle to the mission instead of the latest trend. If your hunts are focused primarily on whitetail deer, the .308 Winchester is a dependable choice with manageable recoil and outstanding versatility. For wide-open country where flatter trajectories can be an advantage, the .270 Winchester shines. If your priority is elk in situations where longer shots may be required, the 7mm Remington Magnum deserves serious consideration. For consistently pursuing the largest and toughest game, the .300 Winchester Magnum delivers tremendous authority. But if you want one cartridge capable of handling almost every North American hunting scenario without making major compromises, the .3V06 Springfield remains the benchmark. The goal isn't to find the perfect cartridges, to choose the right tool for the hunt you actually have ahead of you. Before you spend money on your next hunting rifle, avoid the mistakes that trap so many hunters. Too often, buying decisions are driven by impressive ballistic charts, eye-catching performance numbers, or the latest marketing claims instead of what truly matters in the field. A smarter approach is to ask practical questions. Can you afford to practice with the ammunition regularly? Can you manage the recoil well enough to make accurate follow-up shots? Do you have complete confidence in your rifle when the pressure is on? Those factors will influence your success far more than a few extra feet per second or a slightly flatter trajectory. Experience consistently beats advertising, and confidence always beats hype. In the end, the cartridge doesn't make ethical shots, the hunter does. As we wrap up, remember the biggest lesson from today's ranking. There is no such thing as the perfect hunting cartridge because no single cartridge is perfect for every hunter, every animal, or every situation. What does exist is the perfect decision, the one that matches your mission instead of your ego. Choose the hunt first, then choose the caliber that fits it. A well-practiced hunter with a balanced cartridge will almost always outperform someone chasing the biggest numbers on a ballistic chart. In the end, skill, preparation, and sound judgment will always matter more than raw horsepower. Now it's your turn to join the discussion. If you had to hunt every game animal in North America with just one cartridge, which would you trust and why? Drop your choice in the comments and tell us what real-world experience shaped your decision. If you enjoyed this analysis, give the video a like and subscribe to Firepower for honest, data-driven firearm and hunting content with no unnecessary hype. Thanks for watching, stay safe, hunt responsibly, and we'll see you next week on Firepower, where we'll expose the 5 biggest myths the firearms industry keeps telling hunters about Magnum cartridges.